Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate. Today's episode is a pre-fight episode for UFC 159, Jon Jones versus Chael Sonnen for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. What a great main card. Before we get to the main card and give a preview and my predictions for the fights, I just want to show you some pictures of some of the fighters that are fighting on this card that I've met. Here's me and Michael Bisping. He is fighting in the co-main event against this guy, Alan the Talent Belchar. And then Leonard Garcia versus this guy, Cody McKenzie, are fighting on the Facebook prelims. Good luck to all three of you guys. Between Alan Belchar and Michael Bisping, it's hard for me to pick. But I guess because I'm not a Johnny Cash fan, I gotta go with Bisping, but I'm happy either way. Good luck to both of you guys. Okay, so now let's get to the rundown of the main card. Jon Jones versus Chael Sonnen, the UFC Light Heavyweight title match. This fight, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I think it's a joke. Jon Jones going to win by second or third round, probably knockout. Use this reach advantage. I could picture Chael Sonnen trying to get a takedown on Jon Jones and then it just not working out. And then Jon Jones finding in his reach like he always does and knocking out Chael Sonnen in the second or third round. The first round may be a feeling out process. Because Jon Jones, great wrestler. That's his primary thing, and then he became a mixed martial artist. Same thing with Chael Sonnen. So Chael Sonnen, he might have the better wrestling, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I just look at it like Jon Jones. It's Jon Jones. He's gonna win, and hopefully he can polish that belt for my boy Alexander Gustafsson. When Alexander Gustafsson gets a title shot, he'll clean house. And the co-main event is Michael Bisping versus Alan Belchar, middleweight bout. Like I said before, met both of these guys. Both great guys. Michael Bisping is more outgoing in person. Really nice guy in person. A lot of people think he's not a nice guy. I don't know who would think that. Alan Belchar, he has 5 black belts. And for some reason, it just, you look at his credentials, you go, wow, there's a UFC middleweight champ there. It just hasn't happened for Alan Belchar. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just hasn't been able to mix it up well enough. Maybe just he gets overpowered by his opponents. His opponents might have slightly better credentials than he does each and every time. Who knows? But Alan Belchar, he's only 29 years old, and he still has a lot of fights left in him. I think Michael Bisping will win, probably by decision or maybe knockout. But I can picture this fight going to a hard-fought decision win for Michael Bisping. Probably unanimous decision. Michael Bisping getting 2 of the 3 rounds, outstriking Alan Belchar. They both have great kickboxing. Amazing kickboxing. They've both been to Thailand, studied there for quite a while. Then we also have Roy Nelson versus Cheick Kongo in a heavyweight bout. Roy Nelson last won against Matt Mitrione by knockout in the first round. That was a great fight. Cheick Kongo last won by decisioning Sean Jordan by unanimous decision. I picture Roy Nelson getting a knockout in the first or second round because it'll be hard for Cheick Kongo to knock out Roy Nelson. Roy Nelson is known for having a chin. Cheick Kongo, I'm a fan of his, but unfortunately that's not necessarily the case. And also Roy Nelson has a better jiu-jitsu. So it could be a submission win for Roy Nelson in the first or second round, or a knockout win for Roy Nelson in the first or second round. That's who I'm going with. But I like both of those guys. Phil Davis, Wagner Magdlaels, light heavyweight bout on the main card. Phil Davis last won by second round, anaconda choke, Wagner Prado. That was a good fight. That was on UFC 153. There were a lot of good fights on that card. That was back in Brazil. So Phil Davis had the weight on his shoulders, being in Brazil, being the American fighting a Brazilian, and didn't let the pressure get to him. Vinny Magdlaels, he last fought Igor Prokrayak, won by armbar in round 2. Vinny Magdlaels, I hope wins by submission. I think he can win by submission, just be smart about it. It's going to be tough. I could picture this two ways. Vinny Magdlaels either grapples with Phil Davis, going for submission after submission after submission, and it just drags out to a decision win for Vinny Magdlaels, or he submits Phil Davis. Hopefully one of the two happens, but this fight is a coin toss, could go either way. Phil Davis could win too, using his wrestling. He's a Division I champ wrestler, I believe. Then to kick off the main card, we have a lightweight bout with Jim Miller and Pat Healy. Pat Healy was on the verge of fighting for the Strikeforce lightweight title against Gilbert El Nino Melendez. Jim Miller last fought Joe Luozon in the co-main event of UFC 155. Won fight of the night. I think Jim Miller here has fought the tougher competition in his last, 5, 6, 7 fights versus Pat Healy. He's fought Maximo Blanco, I believe, and some other fighters. And he just hasn't fought the tougher competition, is what it comes down to. He hasn't fought the tougher competition, and Jim Miller has been in the UFC fighting the cream of the crop, left and right. Could have beaten Nate Diaz, but it just didn't. That match didn't work out for him. But I see Jim Miller winning. Jim Miller and Pat Healy are very much alike. They both like to grapple. They both have power hands. So I picture Jim Miller winning by unanimous decision here. He's just always going to be a nudge above Pat Healy, but Pat Healy's still a great fighter. And I can picture Pat Healy losing this match and then going on to win his next 1, 2, 3 matches in the UFC. So keep an eye out for Pat Healy still. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up the pre-fight show for UFC 159. And the next episode will be a post-fight episode, so stay tuned for that. Until then, see ya.